Love and peace. I am so elated that you have found your way here today to share space with me. And I will that you enjoy today's episode of Blackman and Robin. This is episode 9, I believe. If you are someone who listens regularly, then you would have noticed that there was a week that was missing. The week of August 21st, there wasn't an episode that dropped at 5:55 a.m. And I do apologize for not communicating in advance that there would be a change in the schedule. However, I am so honored and so pleased and so very grateful to be able to bring you today's broadcast from the place that I was visiting during the time that episode would have dropped. And it was very important to me to be able to record an episode in the vibration that I was experiencing in this beautiful country. I will that everything that flows through me to your ears, it inspires you, it holds you, it embraces you, and it grounds you. I don't even know where to start. These last 2 weeks have been such a beautiful adventure, such a majestic opportunity. We talk about so many different ideas here on Blackman and Robin, and it's always my will to be able to reach you in a manner where what is being expressed, it supports you, it encourages you, it inspires you, it assists you in a practical way. And I normally don't do too much speaking about myself because, as you know, this is about you and not about me. So I don't do a lot of speaking about me. However, this episode will be a tad different, and I ask that you listen with the intention on receiving what is for you. And if you could replace seeing me with the potential of it being you, you would receive the most out of this particular broadcast. As I shared, this is a very special broadcast for me because this is being recorded in the beautiful city of Lisbon in Portugal. And this is being recorded at the completion. This is the last full day that I will be here in Portugal after an almost 2-week experience, I'll say. And again, it is important, not that it is important to me that you get to experience the vibration of me being here on this landmass, because the frequencies and vibrations of the different landmass is electrifying. It can be recharging to our entity, to our spirit. So I will that you have the experience that I envisioned that you would have. There are several ideas that I would like to touch on, and if you hear my voice quiver a little bit, bear with me, hold space for me. It is a emotional time, however, a very beautiful time. And I would like for you to take a trip with me, take a ride with me, and willfully it resonates in your heart chakra, and we can grow together from here. Can you all hear that? Can you hear the airplane in the background? I'm not too far from the airport, so if you can hear the airplane, willfully it's not a distraction and it doesn't break your peace. Willfully it brings some texture to the experience that we're going to embark upon. Oh, and you may hear me sipping and clanking just a little bit. I'm having a cup of tea, chamomile tea in Portugal, in my little teacup with my little teaspoon or my little saucer, and it's just such a beautiful experience. and I'm excited to share it with you. So, before we jump in, if you can get you a cup of tea or a cup of coffee or whatever your choice of drink is. Maybe it's hot and you want a glass of refreshing cold lemonade or a bottle of fresh water. Whatever it is, you would grab you some and let's sit together. Now, one of the ideas that I would like to speak about is this journey we call life, right? We have so many different experiences along this journey, walking this path, living, adulting. And so many of them we kind of like take on the chin, I'll say, for lack of a better expression, and we don't see that we have the time to really give the necessary attention from the emotional standpoint of what it is that we've experienced, because we need to continue to move forward. I know for myself, there was plenty of times where I felt like if I would give in to the emotional aspect of what I was experiencing, I may not be able to carry on, to continue to move forward because of how devastating or how painful or how saddening the experience was. So I would file it away and I would continue to push forward in the physical to do what I needed to do. Many of us that have children, we consider that they didn't ask to be here, and we have a responsibility and, in fact, an obligation to them to keep moving forward, to do our best, to give our best, to be sure that they have an experience that is worth having, right? That adds happiness, that sets them up for success. And in us having that thought pattern, we normally put ourselves to the side or put ourselves last. And what I would like for us to discuss or explore, or I would like to present to you all today, is a changing in that rhythm of thought. We are our children's first caretakers. We are there as women. We're their first nurse, their first teacher, their first comforter. As fathers, you all are their first sense of security, stability, guidance, discipline, structure. And it's so important that we show up for ourselves, that we hold and support and love on and nurture ourselves, that we be a place of stability and security for ourselves first. And in us doing that, not only are we in a better position to be able to be and do those things for our offsprings, we are also being a living example on how they should love on, care for, nurture themselves. And this is, I think, a underrated idea. The power of being the example for our children on how they should care for and love on and support themselves. As we experience these different things and we file them away, there is a build up that takes place. And oftentimes we are not aware of this build up because we are going and going and going and going and doing and doing and doing. So it detaches us from us. And I would like for us to consider how these ideas show up in our lives. Are we an individual that takes the time to experience the emotion of any given situation? Or are we the kind of adult that says, I don't have time for this right now. I got to do this. I got to do that. I got to make sure these bills are paid. I got to make sure these children eat. I got to make sure that I keep a roof over our head. I got to make sure I put clothes on their back. I got to make sure I keep gas in this car. Are we distracted by the physical activities that life has presented to us is a priority? Or are we putting ourselves as the priority? If you find that you, like I once was, are the individual that puts the responsibilities or tasks or things above ourselves, then this is the time where we want to reevaluate. We want to reevaluate and do a check-in with ourselves to see, how are we feeling? What is taking place? What do we long to experience? Ask ourselves, what do we need? I have a tool, I'll call it a tool. I have a tool that I utilize that I call getting with myself. And I love being near bodies of water. And I go to the water and I sit and I may listen to music sometimes. Sometimes the water waves is the music. Sometimes the birds chirping. Sometimes the silence is the music. And I get with myself and I check to see, like, what am I feeling? I go over the last week or two or however long it's been since the last time I was at the water, and I check on me, instead of waiting or looking for someone outside of me to ask me, Robin, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Like, what's going on in your world? I check with myself, and I find that when I do that, there is usually some emotions that I have to release. I remember there was a time, maybe like a year or two, I would communicate with a person that was in my life that I was going to the water to release. And when I said that, it was understood that I was going to cry. I knew that there was a buildup from everyday life that I wasn't given the necessary attention to, or I didn't have the space at that time. So I made space, and I would go to the water to be able to release what was needed. And just the sounds of the water or seeing the water would cause the tears to just flow from my eyes. And I was taught that when we release tears, when we cry, it's a release of energy. We're letting some things go. So I would embrace the tears falling and just let it come and not have any resistance, because I wanted the release. Blackman, I'm encouraging you to find the method that fits best with your spirit, soul, entity to release. There's so much that you all endure every single day that needs to be released. And you guys have been so strong in holding it together, even when you feel like you just want to fall all apart. You deserve the space to be able to release, because none of us deserve to hold on to weight, baggage, pain that holds us back, that keeps us from experience the happiness and peace and joy that is our birthright. If you don't know where to start, if you don't know what to do, think about a space that you've been in that it touches your heart, it makes you smile, it makes you laugh, it reminds you of a joyful place or experience. Maybe it's listening to music, maybe it's going for a walk, maybe it's working out, maybe it's riding your bike, maybe it's, I don't know, maybe it's swimming, maybe it's boxing, maybe it's writing, maybe you have the writer in you wants to come out, maybe it's painting. Whatever it is, Blackman, I encourage you to pursue that, to create space for yourself. Spaciousness is a word that I've learned these last couple of weeks, and I offer that to you. Create spaciousness for you in your life to experience and to release and to honor your feelings, to honor your frustrations, to honor your disappointment, to celebrate your happiness, your wins, your joy. Celebrate those small things, because those small things will soon grow and evolve into big things. Another idea that I would like to offer to you is, in the event that you find yourself in a current reality that does not resonate with your being, meaning that you feel like you should be so much more, that you can be so much more, that you should be doing or could be experiencing or should be experiencing so much more. However, your physical reality, it feels like you just can't catch a break. It feels like every time you take one step forward, you get knocked 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 steps back. I want you to know that that is all a part of the process. And in us having those experiences, it shows us. I see me in those experiences, and I will that you see you in those experiences. Meaning how you think, how you respond to those experiences shows you how far you've come or how much further you need to go. So instead of having resistance and fighting and pushing and having a pessimistic thought pattern concerning those experiences, embrace them. Embrace them in learning. Be curious about, why is this happening? What is here for me to receive? What is it that I can gain and add to myself for my future endeavors and for those that I will be assisting along the way? When you shift your thought pattern to being inquisitive about what it is that you're experiencing, why it is that you're experiencing, and what layers and depths of jewels are available to you, you will experience the low points in a very different frequency or vibration. And you'll start to gain an attitude of gratitude about what the Most High is permitting for you to experience. And then when you factor in, when you add the element of being a co-creator and having the ability to shift the energy to attract a frequency or vibration to you that is more in harmony or conducive to the reality that you will to experience, you, my friend, my brother, will start the process of manifestation. And when you start to experience you living the reality that you once saw, maybe in a vision or a dream, or that you had this overwhelming feeling of knowing that this is what should be, when you actually experience it in real time, it is an undescribable experience. And I offer to you this example. This is 2023. I am actually recording this on August 22nd, 2023. And 2 years ago, around this time, and this is around my birthday time for those that don't know, I had put out into the universe my will, my want, my desire to travel for my next Earth Day, which would have been last year. I wanted to take a trip. I hadn't taken a trip in, I think it might have been around 7 years. It had been since I'd taken a trip out of the country. And I wanted that for myself. This was maybe about 3 years after my divorce, and I had worked so hard and I was so diligent and so focused on rebuilding life for my family and to establish security and stability in our life once again. And I did not allow myself any of the pleasures of life that my heart so deeply wanted to experience, because I was focused on being sure that the reality shifted for my children as we all made the adjustment from our once life to our new life. And I put this post on social media that for my Earth Day, this is what I wanted to experience, because I had grown to the point where I wanted to do something for myself, right? At least in my mind, I thought that I did. And I say it that way because after that post, I had the opportunity, I had the money, I have the passport, I have the freedom of my time to be able to travel. However, I chose not to because of the guilt that I was working through of feeling like a irresponsible parent if I were to spend the finances on a trip just for myself when something could come up and the children could need something, or a bill needs to be paid, or the car could be breaking down, and I didn't want to put myself in a situation where I would experience that kind of guilt, not realizing I had already been experiencing it, right? Because I had already accepted that thought. And I'm sharing this to give an example of the power of thought, right? I had accepted that thought as being a real thing, and it hindered me from executing what was desperately needed for my entity to thrive and to heal and to grow and evolve, and for me to feel loved. So last year would have been the year, and I didn't make the trip. And this year I have been being consistent and diligent in doing the practices that resonate with me to co-create my reality with Allah, and to place myself in the best position to receive the blessings and the gifts and the bounty that is available to me for all of my sacrifices and my diligence and my love and my submission to the plan of Allah. And here it is, just 4 days before my next Earth Day, and I have manifested the reality of traveling abroad, experience love, embracing receiving, getting grounded, receiving healing, releasing baggage that I did not even realize was there. There was a few things that I thought that I had completely released and I had healed and I had let it go, and being here showed me that there was still a little bit more, Robin, that needed to be released. And I'm so grateful to the Most High, and I'm grateful to Robin. I'm grateful for the past Robin that was diligent, that persevered, that continued to push through, that even when she felt like she was all alone, she didn't give up. Even when she felt at her lowest point, like there's no way things can get any worse, she continued to push forward. And I thank my future me for maximizing on the opportunity that my present me is living, and being sure that no aspect is taken for granted, because this is truly a blessing to be able to be a part of a divine plan and co-create this reality. And I'm sharing this with you as an example because I'm no different from you. I'm no greater than you. You know, Blackman, if anything, you know how I think about you all, how I have been developed to understand the majesty and the power of who you are as being divine masculine, of being the originator of the seed that gives life. And if I, who is your counterpart, the feminine expression that magnifies and amplifies the power and beauty and majesty that is you, can co-create with Allah, the Most High, Jah, whomever it is that you acknowledge, then so can you. And I offer my experience to you as an inspiration, as an encouragement to you that things most certainly absolutely, definitely get better. When you do the work, when you're diligent, when you're consistent, when you want to grow and evolve, and you're humble and you're submissive and you're inquisitive and you're optimistic and you're loving, everything will be exactly what it's supposed to be. And I ask of you to not give your physical reality power as though this is the end all be all and it is the definite, because there are so many things taking place in the spiritual realm that we have no idea. There are angels, there are spiritual beings, there's gods, there's the universe, there's the council, the hierarchy. There are so many different spiritual outlets and beings and entities that are supporting us, that are guiding us, that are holding us, that are cheering us on to reach the point of being who we are. Who you are today, Black man, is not the essence of who you are. It doesn't even scratch the surface. So allow your journey to be your journey. Keep in mind there is a destination that you are going to. And as long as you have breath in your body and your heart is beating and blood is flowing through those veins, you have the opportunity to make it to the destination, to be reacquainted with yourself again. I ask that you listen to these words and you take them in and you allow them to wash over you and resonate in your heart space. If you feel the need to cry, do not hold back. Release the energy. Release the tears. Anything that you feel like you need to do that will be supportive of you in your journey, do not allow someone else's thoughts or opinions or judgments to sway you from doing what resonates with you, because that is the connection that you have with the Most High, and it is speaking to you, it is touching you for you to do what is needed for you. I love you, Black man, and I will to see you step into the power that is you and reclaim everything that was taken from you, including your woman. Love and peace, Black man.